Hello everybody and welcome back. It's day 4. Well, it's the looking at your pictures of day 4 and on the 5-day photo fun thing, feedback and questions and answers. I'm not having many questions, but people are just enjoying the photographs. How are you doing? As you're watching this, it's day 5, unless you're watching the replay. Hello if you're watching the replay. But as I'm recording this, it's day 4. No, it's day 5. So I've given the day 5 thing, and so basically it's over. Well, you have to get your photos in for day 5, and then I'll probably look at day 5's photographs in another live. Today I'm looking at day 4, and day 4 was, if I remember correctly, the past. And oh, by the way, yeah, do say hello in the comments when you join. That'd be really nice. And yeah, so we're going to take some time to look at this. I was going to say, I'm going to really rush, try not to take too long and stuff. But to be honest, I was bowled over. I was amazed by the number of amazing photographs that you shared when I gave you the theme of the past. I was a bit worried that, for one thing, maybe people wouldn't want to dig into the past. Another thing, people might think that it was a bit too emotional. They didn't want to go, exposing themselves like that or whatever. And yet again, I think there's almost more interaction, more comments on this than almost any of the other posts, which is amazing for day 4, because normally, people drop off. And I was very, very touched by so many of the photographs which you shared. Deeply meaningful, emotional, nostalgic photographs. Really wonderful. So, I could easily spend 2 hours on this. I'll try to keep it to an hour, but I could easily spend 2 hours on all these beautiful photographs. Maybe not too much analysing the photographs, more just appreciating what you've shared. I think that's the spirit of the way you've shared your photographs. So just wanted to say that. Who's saying hello? Yoriska's saying hello. Hi Yoriska. Wow, beautiful photographs of your Peppy and your Mammy. Is that what you call her? So beautiful. The one of I think your grandma, looking at her as a young girl. Wow, I'm already getting emotional. Amazing. Fatou, hi Fatou. Lovely to see you here. And Beatrice, hi Bea. And Dorothy. Okay, so let's get going. Well, first of all, I'm going to have a quick look at the photographs from yesterday. The featured photographs, 6 of the best, and here they are. Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm not sure if it's Beatrice's beautiful daughter's eye or Beatrice's daughter's beautiful eye. But in any case, they both work. That was one that I loved. This was another one that was fantastic. I think it was from Trish with the animal farm. Just a wonderful photograph. This was from Maria Antonietta, the portrait of her from a student. Very, very lifelike. This amazing one from... Oh my God, I've just realised I haven't chosen any winners today. I might even have to do that afterwards. Otherwise I'll take too long umming and ahhing. This was from... was it from Loretta? I think this was from Loretta. And then there was one from Vespina, this amazing... I think it's a kitchen pot, but, nobody's confirmed or denied it. And this great one from Nazanin of the carved tree with a whole bunch of doggy eyes as well, into the bargain. All right, so well done, you guys. I'll pick another 6 of my favourites today. If I've run out of people, then I'll start repeating people. I try to honour everyone once, but if I've run out of people, then I'll repeat some. And it's not a competition. You can't compare these photographs. They're all wonderful. So let's get into this. And again, any of your comments as we're going through, you like them, please say that you like them, the ones you like in particular, and who it's by. Otherwise, I'll have moved on and I won't know who you're talking about. I love the donkey says Facebook user. There you go. You see, Facebook user. I don't know who you are because you need to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and say yes. Sab can see who I am. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Maybe it's Gloria, because I think it was Gloria last time who hadn't done that. What am I doing? Yes. So Dorothy's here. Hi from Norway. Not so much inspiration from the photos. Who's in Norway? Who's in Norway? I'm confused. Love the donkey. And says Facebook user, and hi everyone, says Jean. Who's that from Norway? I'm not sure if who that is. Okay, here we go. You ready for this? We've got coming on for 300 comments. And here we go. Just wondering if I can make this bigger on your screens. Hang on, let me try this. Okay. Okay, that's about as good as it gets. Honestly, I'm a bit nervous because I don't know where to start and how I'll stop and what I'll say, other than, you know, that they're all great. So let's just appreciate them. This was from Cassie. Very sweet story. I'm going to get rid of my my banner thing there. Get rid of my branding. You know what it is. Beautiful Gloria. It says Gloria here. Gloria, you're not in Norway, are you? Ah, Ruth from Norway. Ruth, I'm sorry. Nazanin is here saying hello. Hello, Nazanin. From London, I guess. Yeah. So this was. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this. Got another screen here. I'm not ignoring you or reading my email. Yeah, tiny bit more screen estate. So sweet. And she said, I didn't sort of hide the worn bit. Look, it's been embroidered. It's one of those, was it what they call it? Cross stitch or something. I know that my mum has got a kind of cross stitch thing, which my grandmother did. I think it was something you did when you were going to get married. You gave it to your betrothed, you know, something like that. Not necessarily, it could be for other things. This was maybe for a daughter. Oh my God, yeah, I think it was something terribly emotional, like Diane did it for Casey, and she's still got it. I've got to be very careful here because I get very emotional. And she said, I didn't manage to hide, or something like that. The worn bit. Why would you? You wouldn't hide the worn bit. The worn bit is what gives it everything, you know, the love, the number of times it's been held close and stuff like that. So yeah, don't hide the worn bits. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the exercise. All right. I've tried to open up everything, so I'm not missing anything. Jackie, this was another emotional thing because Jackie was. It's a picture I think her dad did of a square, and she's in the square of the town. Isn't that cool? And she gave us a little video, a sort of video tour of the town. Not sure if you can see that going there. And we won't watch it all, but she showed us the town where this was drawn. I think it was her dad. Was it her dad? Hang on. Sorry, it's like technical problem here. Called my brain. Visiting the square in Staithes that my grandfather sketched. We're in grandfather territory here. And she actually went to the place and she gave us a tour of it. And we could see some of the buildings are still there, some are still gone. That's wonderful. There's a place in Paris, near Paris, on the Seine River, which was very famous for Impressionists because the lighting was so wonderful. And around the Seine there, they've put the Impressionist paintings that they painted on panels. So you're walking along and you come across a panel. You look at the panel, and that was the painting that they painted from that spot. So you look to the side and you see what it's like now. And sometimes in the painting, like there's a little row of new trees, and then you look to the side and you think, wow, where have the trees gone? Oh, they're there. They're massive things. You know, or there was a house and now you can't see the house. It's hidden by the trees. Really cool. This is from Beatrice. Beatrice works in a Paris museum, and she brought some nostalgia. Especially, it's a museum devoted to the Second World War, and in particular, I think they call them the Compagnons de la Résistance, something like that. The people who were on the side of de Gaulle as they were fighting, still trying to fight for independence. Not independence, you know what I mean, liberation. And it's a museum which honours them, and there's one left. The people who received a particular medal from Charles de Gaulle, called the Companions of the Liberation, there's one of them left, 𝗣𝗛𝗢𝗧𝗢. And strangely enough, very strange, but he was the mayor of my little town here, and amongst other things. And a little while ago, they had a ceremony, and they renamed this sort of place in front of the mairie. They renamed it the Esplanade de 𝗣𝗛𝗢𝗧𝗢, something like that. Anyway, you know, that's the sort of thing these things bring up. These are old books from her family, lovely old books. Look at that. And she says she's going to hand them down to her daughter at one point, because they were probably her grandfather's. And I hope her daughter knows what they are. I think her daughter's quite a booky person, likes books. So yeah, this is the wall of the Companions of the Liberation who fought with de Gaulle. And these are plaques on a street near where she lives in Fontenay-sous-Bois, she says. You know, very sad. The families that were deported to Auschwitz. Yeah, all around Paris there are you know, signs of that, the deportation. And this is her little doudou. That's what we call them in France. Doudou. It's when you give a little soft toy to your kids, and they keep them with them. My son has got his doudou still, and he's 11. I don't think he still takes him to school though. How sweet. All right, we've got some comments. Give me comments. Give me comments. Which ones are doing it for you? Which ones are you liking? Gloria's here. Oh, okay. Facebook user. I am Aina. I'm a friend of Ruth. Hello, Aina. How do you say your name? Lovely to have you here. Enjoy the photographs. This is from Vespina. She doesn't say anything about it, but it's a very characterful old chariot or something with what looks like a kind of a fairground wheel or something. Beautiful shot. Just sort of lying around near the house. Wow, I wish I had one of those. Actually, we have a little museum in my little town which has some relics from the time when they mined stone and they brought it down from the hill, down the valley on a train. So there's a few things there. Marie Antonietta with some, she says they look new, but they're actually 30 years old. I've never seen such a well-kept collection of cuddly toys. Most of them have got their stuffing hanging out of them and stuff like that. Another old friend. I think I got into a bit of a conversation here about who Goofy and Pluto was. Is Goofy Pluto's dog, or is Pluto Goofy's dog? And I thought it was kind of weird that a dog would have a pet dog. Anyway. Dorothy, pigeon on statue's head, is a common occurrence here in France. Looking out to sea, this statue. There's an interesting statue in Barcelona where Columbus, I think it's Columbus, is pointing on the huge pillar, pointing like this. And he, of course, was the one who, in inverted commas, discovered South America or something like that. And the big joke is he's pointing the wrong way. He's pointing towards Greece, basically, whereas he should... I mean, okay, he's pointing out to sea, which does have some logic to it, but they do joke that, you know, he should kind of been pointing towards the Americas that he discovered for Europe. I mean, they existed before, you know, before Europe discovered them, but anyway. Lovely old bookshops. We have some of those in Paris as well. You know, you go down some of the old passages in Paris and just see these old bookshops. Wonderful. And here's some, and Dorothy says very touchingly, it's the bookstore her father used to buy books in. Oh, that's great. And there were some comments saying it's a shame that in our town the bookshops have been closed down, especially with COVID. A lot of bookstores have disappeared. But there's a few left. There's a particularly beautiful one in one of the passages in Paris. Passage Vivienne, I think it is. Good for photographs. It's in my photograph collection. And an old creperie. She says, I'm not sure if she's joking, the creperie that we... Come on, you're going to give it to me? That we must visit at least once every time I was here with my parents. Okay, I think she's changed the comment, because the comment at the end said it's an old creperie, we have to go there every time. And her original comment said something like ruined by Bretons. I didn't get it. Why have the Bretons ruined it? She's changed it, driven by Bretons. And I think we might say in English, run by Bretons. So it's not ruined by Bretons, it's run by Bretons. Okay, there must have been a bit of, lost in translation there. Because Brittany is very famous for its crepes. There's actually a part of Paris near a train station where there's a road and it's full of creperies where you buy crepes. And it's because when workers came from Brittany into Paris to work and then, go home, they arrived at that train station, Montparnasse. That's a beautiful shot. It actually, it's an old building. It looks very characterful. More comments, please. More comments. What have we got? We've got Alice. Alice is saying hello. Hi, Alice. I'm not sure why there's a water thing there. Is it raining where you are? Love the cart with the red wheel, says Jean. That's Despina's cart from Italy. That might be Maria Antonietta from Italy. And the cart with the red wheel is one of my favourites, says Alice. Okay, and an old town hall from 1890, it says. Right, let's chug on. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more quickly. From Kirsten. Okay, now what was nostalgic about this? It's a collage she did in memory of her dad who passed away in 2006. It shows him at school on the day of school enrollment in 1935. Times were hard then, so I gave him a pair of wings. That's so sweet. You can do anything with art, can't you? There's something really spooky about when you see your parents at an age which is younger than your current age. I mean, for some of us, that's not difficult to do. Most of their photographs are of an age younger than our current age. But there's still something weird about it if you think about it, that they too were little kids, little boys and girls with little dreams and, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying. An old tavern. This is funny because I looked at this from Chris and it's actually called the Village Tavern. And this reminds me of an English town. I was thinking, did you visit the UK at some point? But I think it's a town, is it an old-time town? It's sort of been mocked up to look like an old-time town. And you've given it an oldie look with a sort of very pale sepia there. And this one is nice as well. She said, made her up to look like an old-timer. Perfect. I love that composition. What a strong composition. Forgive me if I don't look at every single photograph, but because it takes a long time for them to open up. Look at that typewriter. Remember typewriters? I learned to type on a typewriter like that. Not like that, a bit more modern. But clack, 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 ping, zzz-dung, clack, 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 ping, zzz-dung. Is there a Pink Floyd song, Money, with typewriter things? I don't know. Maybe Cash Jill things. And preparation for a quilt for my niece, says Chris. You're going to make a quilt out of old T-shirts. That's going to be pretty cool. And time passes, but their beauty still shines through on flowers. Angela, do any of you have these in your family? Old Singer. I was going to say washing machines, sewing machines. I know my mum had one that I thought was a bit archaic. Then I went to my grandmother's, and she had another model that was even more like this. So characterful, amazing. Now they're ornaments. You can have them in the house just as an ornament. And you've used an effect angler which makes it look even more ancient. Redolent of the past, an old clock. She says, from my grandparents who were Greek immigrants from Constantinople, Istanbul. So I'm wondering, does that mean you're a quarter Turkish? I know that Istanbul, didn't it swap between Greece and Turkey 200 or 300 times? And there's quite a bit of crossed over culture, isn't there, between Turkey and Greece? Although I have to be careful when I say that, because sometimes it's a little bit delicate. Some things they say, well, of course you know it's originally Turkish. No, it's not. It was originally Greek. What are you talking about? This one is amazing. An old cinema machine. Well, as I understand it, you set this up now for this photograph to work. I can't believe it still works. How amazing is that? Although it does look like a cartoon film. Or maybe it's even just slides. And you've given it an incredibly atmospheric look. Beatrice is saying, my grandma had one. Now, did she have a sewing machine, an old clock, what else? A cinema machine? I'm not quite sure. You're going to have to tell me what you're referring to, everyone. Yes, in 1922. Okay. I forget what I'm talking about. So if you can just, everybody, if you can just give me a little hint so I know what you're talking about. I have a sewing machine that is even older, inherited from my grandmother. Yeah, these are things to keep, aren't they? You know, we call them family heirlooms in English. An heirloom was a thing for sewing as well, wasn't it? Or making yarn. A sewing machine. Okay, Bea, thanks. Your grandmother had one from 1922, yeah. Love Chris's self-portrait, says Alice. Yeah, isn't that a stunning self-portrait? Loretta has given us a photograph of something I've never experienced. I've just about experienced 78. Does any of you young ones know what 78 means? You know, kids these days, they don't even know what MP3s are. So, you know, let alone CDs. So to expect young kids to know what this is, a 78, by the way, is a 78 revolutions per minute disc. It had to go around, vroom, vroom, vroom. I'm surprised it didn't take off. And I think I just about remember 78s from my grandfather and my grandmother's place. This is even before that. I don't even know how it works. Wax cylinder, I think, is what they're called. And somehow there's some device for playing music. You put it in some sort of machine. Maybe there's little bits on it. It turns around and it bing, bing, bing. I don't know. Don't know how it works. That's amazing. Thomas A. Edison. He invented most things, didn't he? And old copies of printed music. Who are we on? We're on Loretta. Old copies of printed music often used to make decor items. And then you had a series of memorial plaques, it looks like. And I particularly liked this one. Presently house sitting for friends whose grandparents remoulded the house. I like this one in particular. For the composition as well, Loretta. I don't know if you set it up or what, but I love this composition. Not just straight on. There's an old penknife. And I love the fact that down the left-hand side and the bottom, you've got this cross in the bottom corner with the nice diagonal of the penknife and the inscription in the rest of the photograph. This suggests a real photographer's eye to me. And you know, the old penknife it's perfect. Without that, it would be a much, you know, it's a photograph, but in terms of photography, it would be a much weaker shot without the penknife. I love it. So Thomas, playing around with us, being playful as usual, he said, you know, can you guess what this is? One of his shots, it's remarkable. But anyway, this one, love his colours that he's done. And yeah, it turns out to be an old pan lid, I think. So I'll give you a hint. only have the second, the smaller part of this thing. So he only has the pan lid and he's kept it. Okay. What does he say? I can see a bird in there. He can see it. Oh, like, does it look like a sort of eagle's face or something? A certain group of us are kind of experts in seeing all sorts of strange things. I love that treatment. It's just gone crazy. And the next one is the one that really bowled me over. Because if you look at that, I mean, please tell me you haven't played around and modified it, have you? It looks like a face staring out at us. It's so weird. Those really look like eyes. I don't know if he's done something to it or not. And here's the actual pan lid. Okay, yeah, let's move on to this one. I don't know if it's in fashion at the moment or not, or it's always in fashion, but old stuff, you know, vintage is so à la mode. Even if they're new tins with old designs on, and those are just gorgeous. They're just made for, and you've managed to incorporate them, or even though they're probably new tins, you've put a cup of coffee and you've made it look like an old picture. Wonderful stuff. On the masterclass, there's a whole module, I think, or a week or something on apps which allow you to do some of the amazing things that you're seeing here. Teresa's, was it your mother, collected sets of shakers, so salt cellars and pepper pots. And I think that's a wonderful thing to collect. And here they are, the ones that she's kept, which always made you think of fun childhood things, especially the goggly eyes. It's a beautiful shot. It's so sharp. The two are so sharp, beautifully set up. I like those lines as well. Those lines that are leading to them and the softness of the background. It's a lovely shot. And then you offer us some old carts from a museum near you. Very nice effect there. Spotty lighting effect as well. Okay. Getting on to 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗖𝗪 shots. This is her pappy. She calls him pappy. I don't know if that means he's your granddad or if it's a fond name for someone else who is elderly. But it's a lovely shot, and apparently he was telling her stories about his time in the Sahara Desert. I think he was fighting in the World War II in the Sahara Desert. I mean, my history and my geography, my history in particular, is so bad. You know, I don't know what Peruvians were doing in the Sahara Desert. You know, but it was a complicated time, wasn't it? I learnt through 𝗣𝗛𝗢𝗧𝗢 that the French resistance were fighting, was it the Italians in Libya or something like that? Because it was all about colonialism and territories. You know, this country was part of this country, and so they went over there to fight each other. And there was something very sad in the French resistance, is that some of them who were fighting for the ones who collaborated with the Germans ended up fighting with some of the resistant people. Don't know what you call them. And occasionally they were fighting, you know, brother was shooting at brother. And in some cases they literally refused to fight because they knew that there were members of their family on the other side. This is this is a photograph that Teresa in particular I think calls a masterpiece or something like that. What does she say? I'm just looking to see what Teresa said. Masterpiece, beautiful, and I don't think we can argue with that. Gorgeous. Made to look like an old photograph. Getting a lot of love, that one. It's simple. It's just she's behind a plant looking up, covered one eye, and made it sort of sepia colour, or, you know, anyone can do this. Bit of imagination, and yeah, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗖𝗪's got a fantastic photographic eye and photographic imagination. This one got a lot of love as well. An old Louis Vuitton suitcase. which would make a fantastic ornament, wouldn't it, to have in a certain type of house. Apparently it's now a bar, she says. Became a bar. From 1856. Can you believe that? And Ruth saying, this is a very touching one as well. It's an old tape measure. And can you imagine how many times this must have run through the fingers of her great-grandfather? Did I say grandmother somewhere? Oh, I made a rather sexist comment when I replied. I said, how wonderful to have and hold something you know she must have run through her fingers countless times. Whereas in fact you say it was your great-grandfather's measuring tape and my son's tailor bust. Apologies. Yeah, isn't that amazing, these old things, when you think they've had a lifetime's worth of, for trades which, you know, don't really exist in the same way anymore. It's like, I can't remember, someone talked about an old cookery book, and I know there was, when I was young, there was an old Mrs. Beeton's. That was the sort of standard. It wasn't even just cookery, it was something like Mrs. Beeton's Manual of Household Management from 100 years ago. It was basically how my grandmother was supposed to run her household. and she had an even older copy. To know that these things have, especially books these days, there are very few books that, you know, really, they don't have the same character as before, and I don't know if they get the same love as before, but and this, she says, was for keeping money. I think you put money in it to save money, and it got filled up, and her grandmother's golden watch on top, just like the one I had when I was a child. I've got it on my desk at home. She said she took it looking up so that she would do one that could have fitted into the day one theme as well. And oh, this is another one as well. I just about remember when I was very, very young, that when I was watching Friends TV, because I don't think we had a TV when I was up to about 10. And at the end of programmes, I'm not sure what I was doing up at the time when the programmes would finish, but TV stations shut down at night. Can you envisage such a thing? And at the end, this was the test signal. I don't know what it was testing, but it was there at the end, either all night or for a while, until it just disappeared into a little white dot, disappearing into the middle of the screen. One moment, please. And Nazanin with some statues from, no, not all from London. This is from Paris. This is Place de la République, which is covered, she says it's covered in people protesting. So the historical symbol of the French Republic invaded by present-day protesters. Yeah, God, I'm trying to remember the last time I saw it completely covered in stuff. I think it was at the time of the shooting of Charlie Hebdo. I think that's when I saw it, and it was completely covered in protests or graffiti or something. I think that's what it was. They've completely redone that place, and it's much more open now. This is Churchill wandering around, and this is from Paris. And it's from the 𝗵𝗛𝗢𝗄 cemetery, which I did my video outside. I couldn't get in because it's closed. But there's a corner of it which is not dedicated, but there's a lot of very striking statues commemorating mainly the deportations to some of the concentration camps. This one is particularly amazing when you take a photograph of it against the sun, so it's a silhouette. Thomas, have you ever come to Paris? You can put that in your silhouettes group. Right, any more comments? A sewing machine, says Beatrice. We've got Fatou is saying, I love the cinema machine, makes me want to eat popcorn. I'm on a diet, don't talk about that sort of food, please. We have a couple of 78s. Do you? Do you have a thing to play them on, G? We had some very thick and quick 78s. You're talking about 78s, really thick discs that went round very fast. Fatou is saying, love the colours in your photos, Thomas. This is Thomas's look. He's got a style, a very distinctive style. Beatrice, I love the photo of the cup of coffee of Thomas. Yeah, That's really well set up, Thomas. And the wagon of Teresa. Teresa's wagons, yeah. Jean loves them too. Love the portrait of 𝗪𝗧𝗏. And Nazanin says yes. So can I have some more comments, please? More comments, more comments. So the one you like and whose it is, if possible, so that I don't get lost. This is another one from 𝗪𝗧𝗏. This one is extremely beautifully done. Her mother remembering when she was a girl. Come on, I think I clicked it, did I? Now take this as almost like a masterclass in portraiture. The composition is wonderful. Her mother off to the right. She's looking down. She's from the side. There's very atmospheric lighting. She's looking down. This is where, careful folks, this is where, a bit of a tearjerker. This is where she's looking at a picture of her when she was a girl. This is superb. I mean, I can't fault it. It's just, why would I fault it? But, photographically, emotionally, the way you've played with the photograph, it's wonderful. And I think I contributed a poem somewhere here of where I took something vaguely similar. My grandmother and my daughter, when she was much younger, looking at a photograph of the two of them looking together. I don't know if I'll come across it, but yeah, any of this, if you've got an opportunity to do something with this, even yourself, we can look at photographs. You could have a picture of a grandmother looking at her granddaughter, and then you could have the granddaughter looking at a picture of the grandmother. Play around, have fun with that. But don't forget, everything is ephemeral, doesn't last forever. So when you're taking photographs, from time to time, try to make them a little bit more than snaps. Let's get a little bit creative and add emotion. That's what's often missing from everyday snaps. They're just snaps. Nothing particularly pleasing about the lighting, the posing. They might be looking straight at us. They might have one of those awful cheesy grins. This isn't, dragging the emotions from the depth of your heart, screaming into, which is what we want, right? So photography, for me, is about transmitting emotion, sharing emotions with others, our emotions with others. So that's what I'm about. So that's what I think, that's what makes strong photographs. A series of really good photographs from 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢 here. I like this long, this tall, thin look that you have on some of your photographs, and I would go with that. Seeing as you've done a few like that, I would suggest you work on a series using that format, keep the same format, and maybe have the same theme, and explore that. Try to get a collection which would look together. This is something we definitely do on the masterclass. And I would love to see a series of these. The same style, the same feel, and the same format. It would be phenomenal. That's looking through with read her comments. It's about sort of a strange sort of relationship to death and passing on. Do we want to acknowledge it? Don't we? So she had some very tiny tombstones in gravestones in that shot. And here's another one. And only love will remain. Really powerful stuff. You've got a definite great photographer's eye, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗢. And some other stuff as well. I won't look at them all. She says she loves sunlight and the effects of sunlight. It's amazing, isn't it? You'd think with light you'd have a colour photograph, and yet in just black and white you've got an incredible sensation of bright light. And that really literally is almost black and white with no grey tones in between. And all the stronger for it. I did want to look at this actually quickly. The shadow of who I think I am. Photography can make us ask a lot of questions about ourselves, about life. For me, photography is a way of being creative. Being creative for me is about being alive. And photography can help us explore the questions of life, including the deepest ones, and also just, you know, enjoying the pure simplicity of a beautiful flower, for example. But it can also allow us to explore the depths of who we are. Any artistic form can, and photography is no exception. You know, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at Fatu? Are we looking at a reflective panel? Are we looking at what's going on inside Fatu's mind to make her want to take this photograph? All of the above? Who knows? In terms of composition, what I would like to do here as an option, actually, let's see if I can actually do this. I don't know if I can do this. I'm intrigued as to whether, how am I going to do this? I had an idea, now I've forgotten it. Oh, of course you can't see this now, can you? Fiddlesticks. Okay. All right, let me just show you this once, and then I won't do it again because it takes too much time. But bear with me. Is this the one? Yeah, I think that's the one. Cropping. Cropping is an art in its own right. And one of the things about having a subject slap bang in the middle is that you've possibly missed an opportunity to make a stronger shot. So I moved her off. It's not easy to crop this one, but I tried. You see what I've done? I cropped it so that she's slightly off to the side, and you know, it's not a particularly spectacular attempt, but that can be a very sophisticated way. I mean, when I crop almost all my photographs, at least a little bit. I mean, I try to make them as I want them, but it doesn't always work out. And sometimes I take a little bit more than I know that I want to finish with, so that I can crop. I have space to crop. And cropping is an art. It can make or break a photograph in terms of the photograph's power and how it hits people emotionally. Okay, that was rather a long detour. All right, here we go. It's coming, it's coming. Very muted tones, I like it. Okay, let's move on, And a lot of people like this one. I won't, all right, I will. I'll click on it. A lot of people like this one. Beautiful. The back of somebody and the little face of the other person. It just talks about so much, doesn't it? Trust, love, innocence, tenderness, the whole works. And black and white. So powerful. This one isn't in black and white. What would photos of flowers in black and white be like? Would that work? Well, it would if you play with the light. It can definitely work. Immediately came to mind Robert Mapplethorpe, I think he was, who did stunning, incredibly sensitive and even sensual pictures of flowers, amongst other things. So Jean is showing us. This is very sweet. It says that these flowers, peonies, is it? Reminds her of her dear, sweet, wonderful mum. She loved flowers. Beautiful. Should I blow that up for you? Just so that we get it in its full glory. Bam! Wow. And little heart vase there. I'm going to blow this one up because for purely selfish reasons, I love wandering around Paris. I think actually one of the photos I gave you an example was the old Paris ring railway. And there are still vestiges of it all over Paris. It's great. It doesn't work anymore. It looks like this in many places. And how wonderful is that? How fantastic. I live for finding and exploring the hidden parts of Paris and the old, you know, the signs of what used to be there. You know, remnants of yesteryear. And we've got stuff like this in Paris, I'm happy to say. And so I love it. My son is a big fan of that. We go hunting down old Paris. observant people were seeing things like that she's offering a flower to her reflection, which is great. And Jean says there's many Holocaust, is or was the home to many Holocaust survivors. So there are statues to that. How are we doing for time? We're doing badly for time if I'm going to make it an hour. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, this is my latest painting, by the way, Infinity Squared painting. And in my paintings I include a sliver from the sleepers which went underneath the rails of the old Paris railway. That's just been received by someone in America who commissioned it, and it looks like that. Infinity Squared paintings. No beginning and no end to my paintings, folks. You can look at infini2.com if you want to see more. Roller skates! Are they still a thing? Yeah, I think they are. I didn't roller skate. I was scared out of my mind to roller skate as a kid. Luckily, I had ones that were so crap they wouldn't roll if you pushed them with a steamroller. So I didn't go anywhere. And I discovered roller blading, when I came to Paris. That was a different story. Old books handed down to me from years ago, says Mary. She spent hours of roller skating making up dance routines. I think you were probably a little bit better than me, Mary. Still have them. Yeah, great. Rob has a collection of 3 knives for 3 generations. How cool is that? Grandfather's, Pop's, left, and mine. And a trip to Paris years ago, I enjoyed watching the children sail boats on the Tuileries Pond. You can still do it, Rob. Come back. We're going to have a coffee and a croissant, and we're going to wander through the Tuileries Gardens. I've got a lovely shot, actually, from a long time ago. Very fond of it. It's a girl hurrying, looking very purposeful, with a big yacht in her arms, with the green and red sail, which I think is Portugal. Yeah, very fond of that photograph. And there's another one. He says he used to spend hours listening to Greek radio for some reason. Got a Greek theme going here on the shortwave frequencies. It says this station is Helleniki Radiophonia from Greece. I'm not quite sure why people listen to shortwave. Was it because you could get it from all over the world, or different radio stations that you couldn't hear otherwise? Ronnie showing a wonderful old watch with a Paris Eiffel Tower on it. So that's obviously very, very good. The black and white treatment is perfect, isn't it? Perfect for that. With certain apps or certain approaches, you could actually make it even punchier, but maybe you wouldn't want to. I don't know. Anyway, I love it. On the wood, I think it's no, maybe it's not wood. Maybe it's on some sort of an old watch and case with pearls. Not sure what it's on behind, but that sort of leather effect thing. Ah, it's the bag. It's the bag. There it is. Yeah. Wonderful old bag from the past. Kathy getting nostalgic through old barns and silos. Part of a working blueberry farm. I've got blueberries in the fridge at the moment. They were wonderful. Oh, you're making me feel hungry. I think I'm going to go and eat them afterwards. I love being actually in the countryside almost, although I'm on a direct train line into Paris, because there's something about rolling hills, farms, old houses. You can't beat it for nostalgia. Let's blow one of these up. Thankfully, there's still a lot of open land, despite what we're doing to it. World War II aviation. Well done for taking those, Kathy. Do you live? I wanted to know if you lived in the countryside, if this is in your backyard, or if you took them on a trip somewhere. And Laurel is saying she loves the propeller. Okay, how are we doing? Got any more comments before we say bye-bye? And I've got to choose some from these, but I won't do it here. I'll let you see them as I put them up, because it would take too long. Fatu saying thank you. Love Fatu's sunshot. Isn't it amazing, Jean? And okay, see, I can take a bigger photo in order to be able to crop after if I need to. Yeah, I mean, there's a million things we can talk about in terms of composition and stuff. And in the end, it's all personal opinion. So, there is no right photo. The right photo is the one that you like the most. You, the taker of the photograph. After that, it's only opinions. But there are definitely ways in which we can play with photographs to make them more impactful, and practically everyone would agree that this version is a stronger version than this. So that's something we definitely go into in great detail on my masterclass, which is now open. You now have a code, everybody. The code is 5 days in capital letters for the days. 5 days. You go here. Here we go. A little bit of promo. You go here, infinitecreativitynow.com/photo, and there's a special code, and it's 5 days. There's an early bird code, which is early bird. This gives you, I think it gives you €50 off. 200 euros off the standard price. 200 until about Wednesday or Friday. I'm not sure which. I'm giving you, for doing this week with me, for spending this time with me, for taking photographs, for contributing, for commenting on everybody's, you are the people I want on the masterclass, basically. Please come on the masterclass. And for your troubles, for your enthusiasm, the code 5 days gives you another €50 off. Okay, so it's special. It's only for you guys who have done the 5-day thing. So please take advantage of that. If you would like to, I'd love to have you on it. It's a wonderful experience, really wonderful. We get to know each other. It's totally personal. We meet up each week. Anyway, go to that page, check it out, and it's starting in about 9 days. So do that, and I would love to go much, much further and deeper on this adventure with you. And Alice is showing us some incredible things. Oh, this really made me think, what has happened to the art of writing? Not only was it an art to compose words, and it was an art to write. Pens were artistic items. Ink wells, ink bottles were look at that. It's the height of fashion probably for the, Victorians? She says, my mother was from society. What does that mean, from society? I think it probably means like from the high society where they could afford to have things like ridiculously ornate ink wells or ink bottles. The high society of Boston and New York. It's a glass inkwell on a desk set from my grandfather. What a precious thing to have. It's so ornate. It's probably silver, isn't it? The spoons as well that she would use when she had a group of ladies over for coffee. Keys. God, I've got keys. I've got a key like this for an old trunk. Yeah, I've got an old trunk that has some of my memorabilia in my parents' loft or attic. The key is almost identical to that. There's some stuff in there. I'm kind of worried that they've actually looked in because there's some slightly embarrassing stuff in there. But anyway, that's another story. And this up table shot would definitely please Chris. I was thinking the up chair shot. Just thinking about the chair brings back fond memories. Under the chair from my grandparents' dining room chair. So I guess you must have, done quite a lot of nice things with your grandparents on that chair, maybe. Playing games, having meals. Oh, wonderful. We're nearly at the end, folks. What else have I got? Right, so yeah, get your comments in now before it's too late. What have we got? We've got... Oh yeah, I think we've seen all the comments now. So give me a few more comments. Which have been your favourite photographs, folks? A wooden duck decoy. I've heard about them, but I don't know if I've ever seen one. Did they really work? You'd put it in there, ducks would be attracted, and then bam. Duck à l'orange in view. People shoot in my area, but I don't think they shoot the geese that have just had babies on my local pond. Army footlocker, ukulele, and check this out, army hat sitting on a gun shell casing. And I think there was a comment along the lines of, that must have been a monster of a gun. Oh, wow, my grandfather had a very, very similar hat. What on earth has happened to it? it must be in my parents somewhere. I'm sure I inherited my grandfather's army hat, which was almost identical to that. Wow. And this is polo stuff from Trish. Makes a change from the animals, Trish. Glad to see it. Old polo mallets, that's what they're called, isn't it? And there's a picture of them playing polo. I can hardly conceive that the game of polo actually exists. You know, running around on horses, whacking a ball with the tiny little end of something. My mind boggles. I had about 3 horse riding lessons when I was a kid. My parents, you know, bought them for me. They thought it might be something I would like. And I got this old nag. Well, it wasn't really an old nag, but it, you know, you could see it smelling newbies coming a furlong off. You know, here I'd come, pretty nervous. I'd hoist myself up and I'd proceed to try and tap it lightly with my heels, but not too much in case it got annoyed. You know, kind of pretty nervous. And you could see it thinking, you know, well, basically thinking, well, I'm not going to move for this kid. And I had a terrible time. You know, I got to the point I'd be going, you know, whacking my heels on it. It wouldn't go anywhere. And eventually it would sort of condescend to drag its corpus around this sort of inside ring a little bit. One day came along, and it was the day we were going to go outside. It was kind of exciting, but slightly nervy as well, because we hadn't been outside on the horses before. And so what does my horse, this, you know, sort of old nag that couldn't be bothered moving at more than half a inch an hour, decides, oh, we're going to have some fun with this kid now. Spends half an hour with its head down eating some grass while I'm doing my usual kicking thing, then decides to take off. You know, never moved more than at a snail's pace before. It suddenly decides to take off to the other side of the meadow with me, so, not thinking that he was even capable of doing such a thing. So I didn't carry on with that, and you might guess that I didn't become a polo player either. This is amazing. This rolling pin, is it a rolling pin? You roll it over and it automatically cuts out biscuits or something like that? Yes, it is, with a picture in. Look, there's a bird, there's other pictures in there. That looks like seeds or berries or something. How wonderful. And it's old, very old. Her grandmother was born in, I'm not talking about the grandmother, I'm talking about the rolling pin, which is also old. From the 1950s. And the mortar, okay, I'm getting confused. Anyway, it's old. This is the one this is a poem from my grandmother, well, with my grandmother and my daughter. And to cut a long story short, I took a photograph of my grandmother. She was born, I think she was born in 1899. I think she died around about 2000, 2001. So she basically spanned the 20th century. So I wrote a poem called Spanning the Century. This is the only, I hope I've got a better version of it, but I don't know where. Not a version of the poem, a version of the photograph. And it's very sweet. It's my grandmother and my daughter looking at a photograph. And the poem, there's a poem which I called Spanning the Century. I won't read it actually. Just you're probably screaming at me, you know, read it, but I'm not going to, because that's not what we're here for. But it's there. And Laurel. How beautiful. How beautiful. I'm not sure if that's your hair, Laurel, on the left there. I've got a feeling it isn't, because you, I think you've got a few sort of makeup stuff, you know, theatrical things, which you sometimes play with. If anyone sees a photograph of Laurel as unicorn, it's priceless. I think you were actually singing as well. You sang a song dressed as a unicorn. That is to die for. That is beautiful. And she's done a whole lot. Oh, was anyone else here fans of Enid Blyton? I never was into the faraway tree. You know, you can't read everything, can you? Wasn't there another beautiful one, the Giving Tree? Wishing Well? I was a famous 5 person, And then there was the Secret Seven, but I preferred the Famous Five, Timothy the dog and all that. Then there were these mysteries, the roundabout mysteries, or then there was the mystery of something. There were so many, I don't know what was going on. Later on, Enid Blyton, I think, got attacked for terrible sexism or, racism. I don't know what it was. These innocent little kids' stories. I was going to say the fashion. The tide turned, the way we look at things changed, and all of a sudden, what were innocent little kids' stories suddenly took on a darker, a darker tint. And it is what it is, but it's kind of weird to see the things that we used to love being repurposed for but probably correctly as well. But anyway, that's another story. That's all part of it, isn't it? That's all part of history and what's happened. And what else? Leaves. Love this leaf. Crumpled leaf. But it's still on the thing. I do love the, I'm a fan of 𝗣𝗛𝗢𝗧𝗢. 𝗣𝗛𝗢𝗧𝗢 is a way of, it's the beauty of things imperfect, impermanent and incomplete. It's a Japanese philosophy. It is the beauty of things modest and humble. It is a beauty of things unconventional. So you can imagine I'm a fan of 𝗣𝗢𝗢𝗧𝗢. And look, on the cover of this book is an old leaf. I like the fact that there's the word sab in there as well, and that it's for artists. So it's a funny old book, nice little book, and I absolutely see pure beauty in natural things at every single stage of their life now. I don't see for me a rose, to be honest, is much more meaningful, much more powerful when it's past its best. It really is. As I get past my best, I appreciate other things that are too. I don't think there's another explanation for it. Past my sell-by date. Okay, so we're nearly at the end, folks. Couple more comments. Fatu is, we had lots of polo players in our family, says Nazanin. Did you really? My brother, do you come from nobility? No, nobleness? How do you say that? Royalty? Nobility, that's the word. My brother had just had a bad fall and torn his shoulder ligaments. Oh. Secret Seven, the twins at St. Clair's. That's Enid Blyton references. I forgot to turn on the computer to watch. Well, it's too late now. Luckily, a good friend of mine, Aina, sent me a message. You are live. I'm live. Never been liver. Isn't it funny, a funny expression, going live, as though we weren't live before. Aina, you should post one of your photos too. Oh, yes, you should. Yes, you should. And what's your definition of artist? Oh, my God. What's your definition of artist, everybody? Help me out here. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something to come to my head. Definition of artist. I don't know. I've got a funny feeling about art, because on the one hand it's kind of pointless, but at the same point it's almost what makes us human. When we finish our work, we run to art, don't we? We look at beautiful pictures. We read books. We watch plays or films. This is art. Without art, and yet in the old days, did we have art, or did we just live to try and find food and not die? I don't know, because we seem to be the only species that has art. For me, it's a way of expressing myself. I equate creativity with life, art, creativity with life. It reminds me that I'm alive, and it's also a wonderful way of reaching other people. It's the thing that we create is almost irrelevant. It's a channel. It's a channel through which the emotions that I have in me can pass and can reach and touch another person emotionally. So for me, it's a vector, it's a channel. Whatever I create, it's a way of me feeling alive and and reaching other people. I think as human beings, maybe all animals, but as human beings in particular, we're social creatures. We only feel alive in the presence of others, or feeling that we're able to touch others emotionally. You know, you can't love something that doesn't love you back. I'm thinking about, you could love a landscape, love a tree, but I mean the human emotions, they're very much about interchanging between human beings. Imagine being the only person on earth. It wouldn't really work, would it? Sorry. Fatu says sorry. Yeah, difficult questions late on a Friday evening. Artist, any creativity, says Teresa. Sharing creativity. Yeah, for me it's all about sharing. You know, I have my creative cycle that I invented, which consists of 3 words representing 3 phases. Create, share, learn. Create, share, learn. I go into that much more in the masterclass, but that's it for me. You create something. For me, it's not finished. It needs to be shared. Otherwise, it doesn't have any meaning. I share it. People react to it, and I learn from their reactions, and I create again, but differently. And also other people can sometimes create. When someone shares something with you, you're inspired to create, then you share, and it goes round in a beautiful cycle. Oh, hang on. You are very much alive, Sab, and also going live. Yeah, for now, artists are creators. That's why everybody are artists. I think everybody is an artist. They can be an artist. Although not everyone chooses to explicitly create things. It's not for everybody, and there's no judgment whatsoever, you know? The thing is to lead a good life, to feel that you're being a good person and that you're contributing, you're being the best you can be, if you want to. It's not for me to tell others how to lead their lives. But I specialize in trying to bring out the creativity that people want to bring out. If they want it to come out, then that's what I want to do. I want to help them to do that, because I believe that that creating is a wonderful way to live a worthwhile, generous life. I really do. There's nothing more touching than if someone gives me something. I'm incredibly touched. And people in this group have given me things, and I'm incredibly touched. And it's the act of giving, and me, the act of giving as well, is a wonderful thing. Anyone who creates, says Jean. Profound question. Beautiful answers, thank you all. And there doesn't have to be an answer either, you know, just create. If it feels good, do it. And we're nearly at the end. I keep saying that, don't I? But then I keep rambling. Well, it's the second last day, and it's Friday. What is art? Do you create? Are you happy? You can reply to this question. Do you feel the urge to create? Do you feel happy when you create? How do you feel when you create? Take a photograph, for example. If you feel good, then I would recommend that you take more and share them. Take photographs you're creating, share them, you're spreading the love. And it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you in one way or another. Beautiful photograph, wonderful lighting, wonderful subject. Hello everybody. We've got more than 10 people watching. That is fantastic. I really appreciate it. And I love honouring your photographs. And I'm extremely touched. I said this at the beginning, but I'll say it again. I'm extremely touched and actually bowled over. Really bowled over. You know, like a bowling pin hit by a ball at what you've shared here. It's very, very touching. Very beautiful. When you share something that you've created, or something that means something to you, you expose yourself emotionally. And that's not always easy. It's a risk. Because if you expose yourself emotionally, you expose yourself to getting hurt, as well as to receiving positive stuff. So every time you share something which means something to you, it's an act of love, it's a gift to us. So I really, really am grateful that you've done that, that you've entered the spirit of the thing. Gloria is sharing, I think this is the last one. Last but not least, Gloria seems to be a fan of Frank L. Wright, who was an architect. Judging by these books, I'm as bad as at architecture as I am at history. And he designed lots and lots of emblematic buildings in the States, amongst other places. Frank Lloyd Wright in New York, houses, romance with nature, and so on. So you've got the rather intriguing bookshelves. I know there's a certain type of bookshelf. It can look like you slot the books in somehow and it looks like the books are just stuck to the wall. I'm not sure if that's what this is, but it's pretty cool. Like you've taken it from above, looking down. Great angle. Like it, Gloria. And I just don't know what this strange little device here is. I honestly don't. If anyone could elucidate me, I'd appreciate it. What on earth is that? And we're at the end. Mystery object. Is it an egg cup? Weights? Something used in architecture? I don't know. Right, we're done. We are done. How amazing was that? Wow. Look, for next time, could you please, for today's thing, angles, just have fun, relax, nothing heavy. I'm looking for shots with funky angles. You could take it straight on, but the thing is at an angle, or there's angles in the thing. When I say angle, what do I mean? I mean, it could be a right angle, but what I'm kind of thinking is at an angle to the frame. In other words, if you consider you look at a picture this way, you don't have to, conventional, look at a picture this way. This my son made this 2 days ago in his needlework. He's got this kind of crafts class that he does at school, and he sews things, and he came back with this, and I said, oh, that's nice. It's a square thing. And he said, that's nice. And he said, you can have it. I said, no, it's all right. No, you can have it. I don't take it. So my son made it. I love it. So I've got this square thing. I'm trying to rest my elbow on it. I'm trying to find a use for it, to be honest. Trying to rest my elbow on it. It's not thick enough. So anyway, I think it's for possibly doing this at the end of a meal. Yeah. Anyway. Tangent. So if you consider you look at photographs this way, angles are anything that are not at right angles to these lines. So you know what angles are. Or this is kind of my speciality. It's something if anyone knows my photographs, this is one of the strongest things that comes through in my photographs. I rarely take them with the camera this way, or this way. I will either do this or this, or this, or this. Why? Well, you know why. To make your photographs more interesting, do anything except what boring tourist shots are. Oh, that's nice. Raise camera to eye level, horizontally, click. Do anything except that. And throwing in an angle with your camera is a great way to immediately make your photographs funkier. Sounds good, no? So try it. So have fun with this. Have fun. Go crazy. Let yourself go. See how many people we can get contributing to the angles, the funky angles theme for the Friday thing. And I'll do another one of these lives to finish it off. Guggenheim Art Museum, New York City, says Gloria. Do look it up. Small copy for a Christmas tree. Does that mean there's a book that we could buy to put under the Christmas tree for a Christmas present? Maybe that's what it means. The square thing from your son could be a coaster. Oh my God, you're so right. Look, this is on this side of my table. This is on the other. A marriage made in heaven. It's wonderful. How could I have been so blind? Okay. So I'm going away now. At 17 minutes past the hour. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I can see 11 of you. Try to finish. Try to do all 5 days. Contribute at least one picture for all 5 days if you can. Why not? Okay, even if you didn't. If you've tried, you've contributed, you've had fun, please make use of my special 5 days thing. I sent you an email today with 5 days in it. I'll probably send you another one. The code is 5 days. You go to, and check it out, by the way, you'll just see some more interesting photographs. Just check it out to see what it's about. And if you know anybody who loves photography, the point is everybody's got one of these in there with them most of the time. And photography is such a wonderful way to express yourself. Why not make this your new favorite hobby? It's so cool. It's so amazing. It doesn't matter. A smartphone has nothing to be envious of towards any fancy camera. Honestly, I used to take photographs with huge, amazing cameras with loads of buttons, you know, costing thousands. Don't anymore. And yet pure, emotional, hard-hitting, wonderful photography is what I'm about, not snaps. So the fact that I use this now means that this is good enough. This is far, far better actually than is necessary to take hard-hitting, wonderful photographs. So plus, it's got so many other things, cool things you can do with it. So that's why I decided to create a smartphone photography masterclass. It's the best of both worlds. It's wonderful. It's just amazing. Believe me. I think you do, because you've taken amazing photographs. So please join me if you can. Check it out very soon, please, because there's only a few days left, and the 5 days special coupon code, which gives you an even lower price, won't last for long because I can only put in a limited number of people at that. So, but it's very small, very few people. We all get to know each other. Okay, so that's enough of that. You know, I'm not a natural salesperson, so I'm just telling you about it, but I'm not going to ram it down your throat. I really enjoyed today, very emotional. Thank you again for sharing, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now, folks.